Yeah, that is Bigg Robb, and Bigg Robb, one of the funkiest brothers today, and he has a new CD out called Grown Folks Music on the Over 25 Sound independent label, and we just been digging the music from Bigg Robb, who is also an integral part of the band Zapp out of Dayton, Ohio, but he is also a producer, singer, songwriter, and musicologist. We'll find out all about that. And without further delay, I welcome to the Upper Room with Joe Kelley, Bigg Robb. How you doing, Rob?
Joe, what's happening, big baby?
Yeah, great to have you on air. And, I got to thank you for giving me all that great music to bring down in the studio and get funky with.
Hey, man, well, I want to thank you for the opportunity, to be heard by masses. And, just want to say, first of all the glory goes to God. And, if anybody's out there listening, not if anybody's out there listening, but shall we say, as everybody's out there listening in cyberspace and, in the mess hall and the bathrooms all around Connecticut and all around the world, that if you woke up this morning, then that's a wonderful thing, because there's some people who went to sleep last night who didn't wake up. So, first of all, we give all the glory to God. And, just thank you, man, for providing an opportunity for artists such as myself to have a place to have their music heard.
And I got to commend you on it, because, you're a positive brother, and also talking about God and leaving the cussing to the side for the other folks. How tough of a decision is that to check that at the door when you're recording?
Not at all. Not at all. Not a hard decision. Some people, why, for me, the vulgarity and the profanity has just never really been a part of anything that I've done. So, what's the purpose of trying to bring it in there and introduce it? Because, I go back to the old school when it wasn't a part of making good music, and it didn't have anything to do with selling the record. So, I'm just kind of following my ancestors, my funky ancestors and my funky heroes. I never heard Bootsy cuss on a record. I never heard Roger cuss on a record. Of course, there's some Funkadelic records, which are a bit questionable with those guys. George is a little bit more on the edge, but even for the most part, even those guys, they kept it positive, they kept it fun, they kept it upbeat. And I never heard the Jackson 5 cuss on a record, Otis Redding, James Brown, the Motown sound. So, I don't know why I would do it either.
And our listeners, we should let them know right now to go to a great website. I'll give you the spelling, because that's important as well. Hey, Bigg Robb, HeyBiggRobb.com, and you can pick up Grown Folks Music from Bigg Robb. And how was the decision to go the independent route, and what's been working, and what's still some mountains you got to climb?
Well, it's a lot of mountains that you have to climb being an independent, because basically I'm doing it just like Barry Gordy did it in the summer of 1960. We're recording in one room, and then the room next to that we're pressing them up, and the room next to that we're packaging in the next room. We're just trying to do it all ourselves. So, if someone would come along, I guess a big major would come along and pick up the Grown Folks Music Project, and I do welcome that. It would be a lot easier, but then at the same time, I don't know if the music would get to the people, so it would take a specific, type of label to really, get Bigg Robb out there. So, it's all good. Work, if you don't work, you don't eat, and so it's a lot of work. It's definitely a uphill battle. You got to keep running back to FedEx and the post office, and calling PDs and MDs and everybody, but it's all good.
And I think the music stands on itself. You got people's heads bobbing, and just really nice production work. How about the recording? How'd you go about, for instance, the Bigg Robb show, recording such as that? How do you record?
Well, I record in numerous ways. Actually, the Bigg Robb show is a combination of a couple of ideas I had. I also have a song out called Bigg Robb's House Party, Part 1 and Part 3, which actually is being released by a label here in the United States, Malico Waldoxy. I found out it just came out the other day. And so the Bigg Robb show was kind of like a Part 2 to that. And a friend of mine, Gary, Mixmaster Mitch out of Atlanta, Georgia, and Sideman Baby are some pretty notable DJs down in Atlanta, suggested I should go in and fool around with the concept of, taking some old school party chants and some old school party songs and putting it over a funky beat. And so they really encouraged me to do it, and that's what you hear when you hear the Bigg Robb show. So recording, I can record anywhere from a 4-track and a micro cassette to Pro Tools to, 2-inch completely analog. It just doesn't matter, whatever it takes to get it down. Roger, who's a major influence, my teacher, my mentor, my friend, big brother, everything, that cat was my universe in lots of ways as far as musical teachings. He told me a long time ago, even when I was a kid, he said there's no right and wrong way to make a hit record. So, I encourage anybody out there. It's guys who might be in the dorm with a 4-track or a little digital multi-track or, whatever it takes to get the idea down. Because, you got records like Bruce Springs, Nebraska, which are classics, and he recorded that on 4-track.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you got Michael Jackson. They say he spent $21 million or something to make a record. I wouldn't spend that much to make a record.
So you spoke on your mentor, Roger Troutman, of course, who passed away a few years ago, very untimely and sadly. But how did you first, you growing up in Cincinnati, Ohio, and Dayton area, how did you come in contact with some of my heroes and your heroes?
Well, actually, Joe, I started out, fooling around with my cousins. One of my older cousins, when I was a little kid, gave me a cassette player for Christmas, a cassette recorder. One of those little Radio Shack deals that had a microphone on it. And, I was fascinated with the fact of being able to talk into this thing and go around and interview people. So I became a little, walking and talking Max Robinson. I don't know if anybody remembers Max Robinson, but he was a, black guy who used to be on ABC News.
Right.
So I was walking around trying to be a little Max Robinson, interviewing everybody, and then that led into, actually finding the community radio station, kind of like the situation that you're in, where I could program my own music and learning. And once I did that, I got kind of bored with just programming music, and so I wanted to spice up my show. And I found out I had the right to ask entertainers if I could interview them. So, and once I went on that quest, and, of course, entertainers love to talk like I'm talking. So that's how I first met Roger. That's exactly how I first met him. And Midnight Star, who's from my hometown, Cincinnati, Ohio, Bootsy Collins, all those guys. And I always think back to those times because that was the early 80s. And I was a young kid, like 12 or 13 years old. And, it was really, Cincinnati was, oh, man, just, that little Ohio Valley is just the epicenter of funk and R&B music at the time. Because like I said, you got groups like Midnight Star, which, blossomed into the Callaways and The Deal, which is where L.A. and Babyface came from.
And Slave.
Yeah. Slave, which is from Dayton.
Yeah.
All these groups are around a 50-mile radius, or from these areas. Slave, Heatwave, Sun, Dayton, Platypus, New Horizons, Zapp, Roger, Bootsy, Midnight Star, Wilbert Longmire, Penny Ford. It's just, oh, man, I can just go on and on and on.
See, you're making me jealous. Every name you list and then the life you led so far. That's cool.
It's ironic. Because even if y'all think about somebody like I mentioned Penny Ford, and people say, well, who's Penny Ford?
She sing with Shaka Khan now, right?
Well, she sings with Shaka Khan, and she also, her most famous, most notable thing to the tune of about 10 or 15 million records was she is a lady who sang I Got the Power with Snap,
Right.
And, that was a big, massive hit record, and she's somebody who, I used to go to the skating rink and hang out with as a kid, and, I watched her go from having her dream into, it becoming a reality. And just seeing so many people, it's a group out of Cincinnati. I don't know if they're still together. They're called the Blessed Union of Souls. And the guy who led that group, his name is Elliot Sloan. And Elliot used to be in a local band called The Movies when I was coming up. And him and another guy in this group called Eddie Hedges. And, so just coming, Cincinnati, and then, it's nothing to walk down the street and see Phelps Catfish Collins or Razor Sharp from Bootsy's Rubber Band or Frankie Cash Waddy or Mudbone Cooper, who went on to form Sly Fox. Or so, just growing up in that whole musical environment, man. And of course the music, I believe that the Cincinnati music thing most definitely was sparked and encouraged by the fact that James Brown recorded, for at least a decade there in Cincinnati and made, all kind of massive hit records, probably from, I Got You, I Feel Good, all the way up into Sex Machine or something. So all those songs, Lick and Stick, Papa Don't Take No Mess, Papa's Got a Brand New Bag. All those songs were either recorded in and around Cincinnati or they were funneled through because King Records that James Brown was on at the time was right there in my neighborhood. So, So it's the music heritage just goes really, really deep.
And Bigg Robb is continuing that with fresh new record, Grown Folks Music. And
please buy one. Please buy one.
Yeah, please buy one. And if you're in the big business and you want to talk business with Bigg Robb, you can go to his website, heybiggrobb.com, HEYBIGGROBB.com. It's a real nicely put together site. I got to commend you on that.
Well, thank you. The young man who did it for me, Megabyte, who is open for business. Anybody needs a website made, you can come to my site and contact him. He's phenomenal at it. And, God is just blessing me, man. I just been blessed to meet a lot of positive people who want to join the bandwagon. And, I'm trying to bring that over 25 sound back because with all the vulgarity and all the negativity specifically geared towards women and towards sexual connotations, I just don't believe that we need all that to get our party on.
Right.
I'm not hating on the people who do that. That's their bag. It's not mine. And so if they can, I had to ask myself some time ago, if guys can get on the microphone and, be explicit with a whole lot of tenacity, then I need to take the same tenacity and equal out the situation a little bit and come with something positive. So I'm just trying to make music that makes people dance and use all the tricks and trade that I've learned from hanging out with Roger and Bootsy and, all the many funky folks that I've met and seen throughout the years.
And one of the songs which you definitely give a lot of love to is something we're going to get into right now. It's Southern Ladies, the over 25 mix featuring Uncle Love.
That's
Uncle
right.
Love,
That's my man.
So Southern Ladies, huh? Fondness for your heart, right?
Oh, please believe it. Well, I like all ladies.
Right.
I'm strictly heterosexual.
Right.
Boy loves girl, and I'm with it. I love all the ladies, and all the ladies out there listening. Come on over to heybiggrobb.com and show me some love, and because I think of all ladies, not just Southern ladies. Because Joe, when I talk about Southern ladies, it doesn't mean a lady has to be down in the southern region of the country.
Sure.
She might be right there next to you, but she might know how to make a little cornbread. Or you ever had cornbread, Joe?
Yeah, I did.
I ever had collard greens?
Collard greens, no.
Oh, Joe, come on, man.
I could put that on my shopping list.
Oh, Joe, we're going to have to bring you over, man, fix you up with some collard greens and some candy yams and some macaroni and cheese, man.
I'm down for that.
Not the Stouffer's kind, man, but,
right.
The kind that's got big blocks of cheese and cheddar cheese and, oh, man, I'm making somebody hungry. I think you better play the song, Joe.
So Bigg Robb's my special guest. This is from Grown Folks Music. It is called Southern Ladies and Uncle Love, and that's from Grown Folks Music, and it's a really, really diverse CD. We mentioned the funkiness and the great R&B stylings of Bigg Robb, but he's
VOF.org.
Yeah, we're on there, Rob.
Hey, what's up, man? I'm trying to drum us up some business
Yeah, I
here.
know you got.
Hold on, let me make this announcement.
Okay.
Go to WVOF.org if you're not already there, because we're live on the radio. And tune in, check us out. WVOF.org. I like the way that sounds.
So you got it. Thanks for drumming up the interest out there.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
man! You're doing something wonderful. Everybody needs to know about it. There's so much negativity in the world. That if somebody runs a car into a telephone pole, it falls and knocks over 2 more cars. That's on the front of the news. But if you're giving the artist the opportunity to have their new recordings played, and people are discovering new music and getting good vibes off of it, whether they're in the bookstore, drinking a tall Cafe Grande or wherever they at. That's never on the 6 o'clock news.
No, they don't want to hear about that, right?
But we want to hear about it. That's
Yeah.
the biggest misconception. We want to hear about the good
Right.
stuff. I'm so tired of hearing about the bad stuff.
Right.
How many kids got AIDS today? How many, You know what I mean? How many people that didn't think they were going to live another day got to live another day? How many guys made up with their girlfriends? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Who's celebrating the birthday today? Where's the happy stuff at, man? You know what I mean? So that's what I'm about. Happy, happy, happy.
And your CD, just I was making mention that you got different flavors on there, a little bluesy stuff. And
oh yeah,
did you want to talk a little bit about some of the musical partners on this record?
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I'm coming back with is called the Over 25 sound, which means if you're over 25 years old, it'll be a no-brainer when you hear the Bigg Robb music. And if you're under 25, then do it. Come on over and step in and check us out. You know what I mean? That just happens to be the name of my company. I'm not trying to, excommunicate anybody. But on the CD, I have, I've been very, very blessed. Myself and my musical partner, his name is Sure to Be, and he's, as far as I'm concerned, the most talented, unselfish, giving guy in the music business. I mean, he plays all kinds of instruments. You know what I mean? From ukuleles to, timbales to harmonicas to accordions. It just does not matter. And we lock ourselves in the studio and we come up with these tracks. And, rather than just have a record which had 12 or 15 Bigg Robb songs, which I've done that in the past, I wanted to kind of experiment with this. I've got some very talented people around me, unknown people who have a lot of talent. And, I wanted to try to feature them. So here comes the Uncle Loves and the Mama Big, who is my female vocalist, and Big Woo from the Problem Solvers, and which the Problem Solvers is a group I'll be coming out with after the first of the year, which they're going to do Southern Soul, Blues, R&B type stuff. So they'll have tracks that go anywhere from sounding like the Temptations and Otis Redding to, futuristic Jagged Edge to it's a guy out by the name of Mel Waiters who I produce. So we'll have all flavors, and confidence. Just trying to come up with some good music, and the music that's in my heart, the music I grew up with. And, you and I have spoken lots of times talking about, just the old school music, not necessarily, everything that's new. And that's what I'm just trying to do, man. We set up the mini moogs and the ARP string machines and the wah-wah pedals and the Mutrons, and, we go at it.
Yeah, I mean, I was also talking with you about music. I enjoy that just as much. I think we come from the same vein.
Sure.
And I wanted to ask you this, growing up, we grew up around the same time, early 80s, late 70s, and discovering music like that. Where do you think it went in another direction, that the music such as what you're just carrying on the tradition on the record, where did things get put in the closet, or where did it go?
Well, it's a really tricky thing that's happened to, a lot of our great musical heroes, and it's not really their fault, meaning, guys were making records, and then, a new sound came in or whatever, say more technical. Like, I can remember the first time I heard Planet Rock by Africa Bambaataa and Soul Sonic Force. You know what I mean? I can remember where I was at and everything. Mm-hmm. And that sounded a lot different than Flashlight, and that whole electrotronic, electro boogie type, Planet Patrol, Soul Sonic Force, which then led into Egyptian Lover and, that whole type of thing. Took it from where everything was, hand claps and mini moogs into a little bit more electronic thing. And then you had groups like Art of Noise who came in, and many other groups. So then all the people who were making the music before then kind of, they kind of got, what's new is hot, and, music is constantly evolving. So then I think what happened is all our great funk heroes started trying to get into as rap got bigger and bigger, I think they started trying to get into the rap. And, it's just no matter what, Bootsy is not Run DMC. You know what I mean?
Right.
And when I put on a Bootsy record, and I love Bootsy, I want to hear Bootsy. You know what I mean? I want to hear, wind me up, baby. Say what? I want to hear that. I'm not really trying to hear, 2 years ago, a friend of mine asked me to say some MC. I ain't trying to hear that on a Bootsy record. When I put on a Run DMC record, I want to hear Run DMC. And, styles just started merging. I mean, and it's all good. I guess what I was going to tell you is that the trick that was played is that now that the old school is back in style, It's where guys like Bootsy or the Gap Band or Earth, Wind and Fire they couldn't get on any radio stations because they weren't um, new enough or young enough or whatever it is. I mean, it's a hard business. So they started trying to put these different little influences of the youth into their music. And the kids is kind of like, oh, man, come on, we ain't quite feeling it the same way. And so, but with guys like Dr. Dre and DJ Quick and Ant Banks and many other, producers who started pulling the mini moves back out and said, man, we want some of that one-way type funk. We want some of that Zapp type stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, hey, man, I know, get somebody to play bass as they started evolving the hip-hop thing and going just from sampling records. And which that's a big misconception, too, because they weren't just sampling records. You know what I mean? Davey DMX and Curtis Blow and all the original hip-hop producers, Rick Rubin, Joey Robinson over at Sugar Hill is a good friend of mine, Jigs Chase. I mean, those guys, they were, they really created a whole new sound. But the musicians were treating the rappers like, oh, man, what y'all doing is going to play out. Well, it didn't play out. And so now I think it's finally coming back. Everything is finally getting back in some kind of order where, people want to hear the funk guys be funky. They want to hear the rappers rap. And it's all cool once again. But the trick that was played is that, hey, man, at a certain point, styles change. And, I don't know if we want Michael Jackson to be hip-hopped out or if we just want him to be Michael Jackson, like we like him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And, when Michael Jackson starts getting a little too hip-hop, then he loses us because we're his old school fans. And the new school fans look at him like, dude, you ain't Nelly. You know what I mean? My son looking at Michael Jackson like, come on, man, you the beat it guy. But the business is weird. So the biggest thing I learned from that is do the music that's in your heart. Don't necessarily try to, don't try to follow a trend. But until guys like yourself and the internet became into such a strong major play, you had to kind of do whatever it was that everybody else was doing because you couldn't really be different, because there was no outlet for it. But now Bigg Robb can go make a record that sounds just like something from 1981, and, you'll play it and people will buy it because there's an outlet for it. So that's the greatest, and I love the internet for that, man.
Hey, speaking of the internet, Rob, we got an instant message. Someone just sent it. It said, and I'm quoting this listener, the interview was so interesting. That guy is incredible. Tell the Bigg Robb you have a listener who finds him incredible with all he knows about funk, the real funk. So,
well, ever funkin' on, because I'm a placebo syndrome, cosmic slop, mommy, what's a funkadelic, Bootsy Phelps and a complete strangers type funk guy.
Right.
And anybody who's really deep off into the funk, they'll know exactly everything I just said. So, hey, man, and that's another thing because I know that I'm schizophrenic in that side. Because I grew up under guys like Bootsy, and grew up looking at, these funk heroes make music. And so on one side of me, I've got the funk, and then I also grew up at the beginning of rap. So, I got to give mad props to Spoonie G, which is a name that's never said enough. Spoonie G is the predecessor. Before there was LL Cool J, and there's Curtis Blow, Jimmy Spicer.
Dollar Bill Y'all, right?
Dollar Bill
yeah,
Y'all.
I got that on vinyl.
Oh, man, the Cold Crush Brothers, Kool Moe Dee, and the Treacherous Three. Oh, man, I'm talking about back in the days of, Bobby Robinson, Enjoy Records, when all the rappers were on Enjoy Records. That's before Sugar Hill. Bobby Robinson is a gentleman who ran Fire and Fury Records out of New York City. He had one big hit record. He had lots of hit records. Bobby Marchand, and I'll tell you about Bobby Marchand in a second, but Bobby Robinson had With Every Beat of My Heart, which was Gladys Knight and the Pips, Letter Full of Tears. Those were records in the 50s, which was even before I was born. But then in the late 70s, he started a rap label. And so he was like the home for Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, Spoonie G, Funky 4 plus one more. Oh, man. A lot of guys, a lot of those early rap groups, before they made the Sugar Hill, was doing their thing and Enjoy. And I was going to tell you about Bobby Marchand. Are you familiar with Bobby Marchand?
Nah, I don't think so, no.
Bobby Marchand was an entertainer who's out of Louisiana, who was quote-unquote old school. He had hit records back in the 50s and 60s. And later on, after that part of his career was pretty much over with, I guess he did talent shows and stuff. And he was really like one of the forefathers, one of the teachers and the mentors for those guys at Cash Money. You know what I mean? So he was able to teach those kids coming up, you know, the business that he had learned from the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and 80s, which I believe, I mean, I'm quite sure really helped them, you know, to get such a strong grip on their business acumen and, you know, be successful. So I was just thinking about him. But so, you know, just going back, man, listen to all the early music, you know what I mean? Like I said, oh, man, you know, there used to be so much rap stuff out.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's so much rap stuff out now, but I have to give props to the guys who influenced me, Grandmaster Melly Mel, Rakim. You know, so on one hand, I'm listening to Bootsy and them doing Body Slam and Dynamite Rag Popping and Count Chocula and all that stuff. And then the other thing is, you know, I'm also listening to Peter Piper and it's like that. And Houdini, which is one of my favorite groups, Ecstasy and Jalil.
Oh, yeah.
UTFO, The Real Roxanne, Fat Boys, you know, Dougie Fresh, Slick Rick. Oh man, you know, I mean, just listen to those guys. So, you know, I got all those different things kind of popping off in my head at the same time.
Well, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You got those old videos from when Donnie Simpson used to have on Video Soul?
Oh man, look, I collect videos, so I have to go back even farther with you. I have a friend of mine who has a business, and he started out. It's not even so much a business; it's just he's a collector, a historian, and he archives. So not only do I have Donnie Simpson, and I go back to when BET used to be on for 2 hours a day,
right?
And they only had about 3 videos to play: Zapp, I Can Make You Dance, Stephanie Mills' Sweet Sensation. Those are the only 2 I can remember. You know what I mean? But this guy has, I mean, you know what I mean? He's got the Jackson 5 on Ed Sullivan and the Hollywood Palace and, you know, the original Temptations. Because I just love all kinds of black music because, you know, I mean, there's so many unsung heroes like David Ruffin. You know what I mean? I mean, my goodness, man. I mean, that guy he's impeccable. I mean, the man sang a song in 1964. It's 2002, and it's still a smash record. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, what can you say about that? You know?
Well, the music on Grown Folks Music, one of the standout things is that it's kind of timeless. You can't put a number on it, and it still sounds good today. And I'm sure it'll be sounding real nice years down the road. But you can get this right now in your collection from Bigg Robb by going to his website, heybiggrobb.com, heybiggrobb.com. And we are going to get into another track, but this has been getting a lot of response. I know you were on the road this weekend traveling.
Yeah.
Down south in Atlanta and Georgia. The Big Woman song.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's dedicated to all big women. If you're a plus size woman, don't be ashamed. You know, I just want to, like I said, I want to make music that uplifts people. You know what I mean? It makes people feel good. And being a big guy myself, you know, people, he's like, look at that fat boy eating that candy bar and all that kind of stuff. And, you know what I mean? And I noticed that in our society, you know what I mean, you cut on TV, it's always they hating on big women. So I'm here to tell the big women if nobody else loves them, Bigg Robb loves them, and I appreciate them. And I want to send this out to the people that are listening in Atlanta and the people that are listening in Detroit, Cincinnati, and also to our friends over in France, because, you know, we've been getting a lot of response from over there, and Seattle, Washington. So the Big Woman song, hey, man, and all the big ladies out there, just stop and shake and shimmy. It's okay. It's all good.
And Bigg Robb tells it right here. This is a great track from Grown Folks Music. We'll come back and...
Oh, man, This is all good. I'm having fun, man.
Yeah, I love talking music with you and listen to your jams. And, you know, you mentioned Bootsy Collins as one of your mentors and collaborators. Bootsy Collins, you did a little work on his new release that's out in Europe right now?
Yeah, well, you know, just a tad bit of history. I mean, you go to my website, you can read the whole story. But, you know, as a kid growing up in the projects, back when I was DJing, street DJing, and working at a little radio station in Cincinnati called WAIF 88.3, I met Bootsy. He was one of the first guys I interviewed, and actually he's the guy who, you know, I mean, just when I saw him with the rhinestones and all that stuff, man, it just blew my mind. Because I was like, I'd never really seen anybody who looked quite like him and did it the way he did it, and the response that he got from the people was just phenomenal. You know what I mean? So we have been great friends since that time, since I was a kid. And the most recent thing, when he did an album called What's Bootsy Doing, I did some lyric writing and stuff for him on there. It's a little rap that goes, everybody funkin' and don't know how. I think it's time for a pop wow. He's slaying faketeers with his funketeer charm as the space bass slides from his hands to his arms. And it was a big thing. It's on that. You hear that rap on. It's on the What's Bootsy Doing CD. The song is called Party on Plastic, and which that was probably the first time I ever had a published record or a song or wrote something that actually made it to a record. And most recently, me and my partner, Sure to Be, went down to the Rehab, which is Bootsy's studio. He had Snoop in town and a few months back, and they were collaborating on a bunch of stuff, and some of it you probably seen on MTV. And one of the things, Bootsy's got a song called Don't Let 'Em on his new CD, the new Bootsy CD. I think it's called All Star Funk. And so it's Snoop and Sure to Be, who plays the Rob box because I make my own brand of voice boxes, and Rosie Gaines and Bootsy. So
Rosie, yeah.
Yeah, it's a hot track. You know, I mean, Rosie wasn't there, but I did meet Snoop, and actually Bernie Royale was there too.
Oh, cool.
You know what I mean? And so that was just that was just a pleasure, man, to be sitting in the room with Bootsy and Bernie at the same time. I mean,
That's goosebump time, right?
Oh, my goodness, man. All we needed was George and for those guys to let me produce it.
Yeah, or Victor Wooten to stop by again.
Oh, man, Victor Wooten, most definitely. That'd be too much bass in the room, man. You know what I mean?
So we should also let our listeners know, if they don't know, you also are a member of Zapp, which has continued since Roger Troutman passed away. And
right.
You guys are keeping the spirit and the funk alive.
Oh, most definitely. And there's a new Zapp record that's being made right now. If I dial over to the Zapp studios, you hear it playing in the background. They're over there mixing and getting it together right now, and it's going to be phenomenal. And I'm looking really, really forward to doing that. You know what I mean? And just, we're always out doing shows. We had no choice but to continue to go on. You know what I mean? God bless us to be able to go on and, continue to do it. And Roger was such a great teacher that, hey, man, they say if you build something that can stand even when you're no longer here, then you truly built something. And the group Zapp is an institution like that. So look forward to Zapp coming to your city, your town, your neck of the woods. We just came from California and Alabama, and we just always playing somewhere.
And there's nothing, in my opinion, that beats a live funk and roll show. That to this day, nothing has topped it for me live.
Oh, yeah. Well, and we've been blessed to have a great show that entertains a lot of people. And, I think our show is a lot more spiritual now, but considering what we've been through, maybe we can uplift. I can tell you this, after losing.